person, or they actually have depression problems. They actually have chemical depression problems. So if you see multiple 9s in numbers, people can have depression problems. So notice I said multiple 9s. It has to be more than one. And a 9 destiny says in old age they might have some emotional challenges in some way, okay? So, and then, so we did the destiny of 10, which again is the early eggs, and the destiny of 11 too, which we did, which was the Richard Burton thing. Now, because I just mentioned the depression thing, we're dealing with the 5, 15, 1936 energy. This karma of 5, which is the wounded healer teacher, mixed with that sensitivity and that emotional sensitivity, you can imagine that this person might have depression problems. So that 9-5 combination can create depression problems and go in and out a little bit, and that's a little stressful. So you hit your destiny number when you get past the age of 45. It goes all the way up until the time you die. It's the thing where I wanted to accomplish this by the time I die. It's my destiny to do that. Sometimes you see a situation where, okay, let's do this. Okay, so let's do 8, so let's see, 26, 8, and then let's do, what was that year we were doing? Do you remember the date?
Oh, no. What are you, I'm not sure what you're doing.
Yeah, so remember we had the destiny of 8, or was the path of, we were doing something, let's see here, let's do it like this, karma path. So let's do 52. 52 is a 7, so 52 is a 7 and an 8. Let's go like this. Okay, so let's see, we've got 10, 20, 31, 32, 33 is a 6. Okay, so let's do this as an example for a second. What we've got here is a person who in their last lifetime had a soul of 8. In this lifetime they've got a karma of 8. Their gift in many lifetimes has been a 7. Their path in this lifetime is still an 8, and their destiny is a 6. What you've got here is triple 8s. And so when you're dealing with triple 8s, it magnifies the energy. Whenever you get more than one of anything, it starts magnifying the energy. So what we've got here is whatever the person was doing in their last lifetime, which is the soul number of 8, which means that they were dealing with grief and loss and sadness. They were trying to do the pranayams and the breath, and they were trying to do as above, so below, as below, so above. Their karma in this lifetime is still the same thing. So the assumption you would make is, even though they did this in their last lifetime, they don't feel done. Now notice how I said that. They don't feel done. The numbers actually said they did pretty good, okay? They actually have an 8 there. I mean, this is not like they missed the boat completely, but maybe they did it really well in one area and they didn't do it well in another area. So now they still have this karma of grief and loss and sadness, and they have a path of grief and loss and sadness, which means it's a trap. So when the path number and the karma number are the same, it means that everywhere you turn on your path, you get your karma in your face. So you will see people that get very frustrated by this because they're irritated, because they're like, goodness gracious, you know, I can't seem to ever get away from this lesson. It always comes up. It always shows up. It's my whole life is about this. And I go, that's because usually there is some sort of overlap, meaning that the karma number and the path number are the same, or the karma number and the destiny number are the same, which means that it was their destiny in this lifetime to complete the karma if they happen to be the same number. So, yeah. See, so it means that, you know, and in this case we've got a 6 here, but I could have an 8 there if I rearranged the numbers a little bit differently. But it gives you an example to look at. So here this person did do it before, but they don't feel done, so they're doing it again, and they've got it set up where everywhere they turn they're going to get this lesson. So I know that people get very frustrated because they think, oh, this is never going to end. I never can get away from this. And I kind of go, well, you will get away from it when you've done all the karma. When the karma is done, it will release. There's always a point where things release, but the problem is you don't know what that point is, and the problem is you don't know what the karma is sometimes. So sometimes what you think you're doing to release the karma actually isn't releasing it. So an easy example would be this. Like, let's say this person has karma of sadness and loss. And their path is that they keep getting situations where they're getting people with sadness and loss. So then an easy example that would be wrong, or, well, wrong, if there's a wrong way to do it, there's a way to do it. They basically said, well, I'm not going to be with anybody. I'm going to not let anybody close ever again. I'm not going to let anybody in. I'm never going to let anybody hurt my heart. I'm going to be all about me. Forget everybody else. I'm just going to be all about me. Does that actually heal this karma? It doesn't. Because it's about letting people in to touch the deeper places of your heart that feel unloved. And that's really scary because people are human and they're going to make mistakes and they're going to tromp all over you in some way, and it's going to be miserable and uncomfortable. And that's an example of how this wouldn't quite work exactly. So as much as a Leo Virgo energy wants to feel like they're strong and in charge, in this particular case they have to work on vulnerability and authenticity and realness. They need to drop the strength facade, and they need to acknowledge the fact that they're wounded and hurt on the inside and deal with that. It's kind of like a person who has a broken foot from their childhood. And they spend their life, you know, making sure, don't step on my foot, don't step on my foot, don't, you know, I have a broken foot, don't step on my foot. So they make everybody back away from them because they have this broken foot. Well, if you make everybody not help your broken foot, or not let you, but you also are walking on it and not healing it, so it never heals properly, it never heals. So then if you let somebody close to you, inevitably they're going to accidentally bump into your foot, and then what'll come up with this is, you broke my foot. And it's like, but the foot was always broken, but they're suddenly going to blame the other person for it. So it's this trick where you have to kind of take responsibility and go, I have a karma of 8. I have a broken grief thing. In my body, somewhere I'm holding grief. And I'm going to magnetize grief to me no matter what, because that's the only way I can heal it. It's the only way I can heal it is to have people bump into it. So I'm like, oh, I didn't know I was hurting there. I didn't know I was still sad there. I didn't know I was still suffering over here. Like, until you have reflections that point it out to you, you can't really see it completely. So it's kind of cool when you look at it, when you look at these numbers and what can overlap and what can't overlap. So if we were dealing with a situation where so what would that make it? It would be 7, 6. Let's see, 65, 66 is a 12, is a 3, 66, 12 is a, yeah, 66. So then we've got 18, 28, 38, 37, 36, 35 is a 5. Okay. So if we were dealing with a situation like this, you've got a karma and a gift number overlapping like that. You've got a soul and a destiny number overlapping like this. In this particular case, this person's gift is the other person's karma. That means this person is the teacher of this person from a past life. So, but it's a karmic overlap, which means this person is also, is this person's greatest karmic challenge. So this person is the teacher, this person is the student, this person doesn't want to be the student and doesn't want to listen to this teacher. And so there's some sort of karma that they're working through on that level. With destiny numbers, you want destiny numbers to be working together. These aren't necessarily too terrible, but it makes actually a lot of sense because a destiny of 6 says they're going to be in old age probably alone, like I was saying earlier. The destiny of 5 says that other person could die early because of something, because they're going to have health stuff crop up, and if they don't deal with it, they'll die. So that makes sense on one level that you could have that situation. If somebody has a destiny of an 11 and the other person has a destiny of 6, this person wants to be a hermit, this person wants to hike Kathmandu at 55, you can see that that's a problem and that's not going to agree. So these people want to be in two totally different places in old age, and that can be challenging. So if this was a couple that I was counseling, I'd say, okay, you realize you want to stay home. You realize this person wants to run around and see the world. You need to let them run around and see the world, and you need to recognize that this one needs to stay home. You know, they just have to admit that that's the way it's going and let it go, for goodness sakes. You know, that no, this one wants the other one to travel with them. I'm sorry, that's just not going to happen. It's not comfortable for the other person. All right. So, now, let's see what else we're going to get here. What I want to touch on for a second here is related to your name. And there's it's like a giant grid that you get to play with. So, let's see if I can do this. Whoops. Hold on.